You have a piece of scrap paper? Oh, you know what? No. Never mind. Forget it.
Good morning, good noon, good evening, wherever time and place you're listening to us from. Straight from the 909, it's Mark, Ali, and myself, Isaiah, and together,
That's hip hop.
Please don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. Today's a very special episode, gentlemen. I know you hate when I use the word special.
They're all special.
But we're discussing one of the most influential rap groups of all time. Public Enemy bum rushed the scene in the late 1980s with a style that was both radical and revolutionary. Chuck D with a powerful and authoritative voice, much like a sports broadcaster, to the likes of like a Marv Albert or something. Then you have the greatest hype man, not just in hip hop, but of all time, possibly.
Ever.
Chuck D says him and Flav are like the Rolling Stones' Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, as far as like duos is concerned. But I want to compare them with the utmost respect, of course. This duo reminds me of the classic duo, Pinky and the Brain. Known for their contrasting personalities and their, just have two different dynamics. Brain with the serious, cerebral, balanced by Pinky's simplicity and eccentricity. Like, those two are just two different sides of the coin, but yet they both are so vital to the group. They're very connected. Like, if you just look at Flava Flav, he's so iconic with the clock, so iconic. And he represents, Public Enemy. Like, he's an integral part of Public Enemy.
Oh yeah.
Very, like, he's interweaved in between like verses and stuff with Chuck D. They're like two peas in a pod in that sense. And Chuck D just with so much information coming at you politically, consciously, there's just a lot coming at you with just this baritone, voice that just commands the room. We're discussing their sophomore album, It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back, released on June 28th, 1988 by Def Jam Recordings and Columbia Records. Producers on this were Chuck D, Rick Rubin, and Hank Shock-Lee. This album peaked at number 1 on the U.S. Billboard Top R&B and Hip Hop Albums, peaked at 42 for U.S. Billboard 200. This album went platinum in the U.S. and gold in the United Kingdom. The album length is 57 minutes and 51 seconds. Singles from this album were Rebel Without a Pause, Bring the Noise, Don't Believe the Hype, Night of the Living Bassheads, and Black Steel in the Hour of Chaos. Gentlemen, I'll ask you first, Ali, first hearing Public Enemy, what was that like?
Yeah, honestly, I can say my first real memory of hearing Public Enemy was actually the He Got Game soundtrack. They did the song He Got Game. I think it was the title track for the soundtrack. And it was just a cool song for the movie. And I was like, okay, this is a cool song. They were kind of at the end of their run by that point, but that song, I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. And I'm like, maybe 9. So I'm like, all right, I like this. And then as I got older, I'm starting to hear, I'm getting into, I watched, Do the Right Thing for the first time. I might have been like 10 or 11. And the theme of the movie was Fight the Power. And you kept hearing that beat over and over and over. And I'm like, okay, I don't really know what this is, but this is insane. So I'm old enough. I'm trying to, do my research and see what, okay, Public Enemy. Yeah, I've heard of them before. And by the time I'm like maybe 13, 14, I'm really getting into a lot of their bigger records. I didn't do really any deep dives on their albums by that point, but like the big ones, like, Don't Believe the Hype, Bring the Noise, Fight the Power, the big Public Enemy records, I was, all about them because it was a breath of fresh air because there was nothing out at that time like them. So, yeah, they to me, they're so important. They're pillars in the game. Their sound was ridiculous. They really were the soundtrack. Honestly, even for Ice Cube's first album when he left NWA, he linked up with the Bomb Squad and crafted his whole sound for his first album. and they're just so influential. I mean, from Ice Cube to Black Star, even kind of on a not as direct influence, but even like the Native Tongues to a degree. They picked up influence from them. They kind of took it in a different direction, but still they made it where consciousness was cool. Like I feel like there was an era in hip hop from like, let's say 88 to about 92, 93, where like it was cool to be conscious. Like they took off the gold ropes, they put on African medallions. It was cool to be up on, Malcolm X and wearing the t-shirts and all of that. Like there was an era where it was cool to be conscious. And I really wish we could have experienced something like that where that was like the mainstay in hip hop.
Yeah. What about for you, Mark? What was your introduction like?
I ended up hearing Public Enemy through my Microsoft Zune. I initially had around this time, about 2008, a lot of companies are releasing the Masters Greatest Hits, the great titled like albums for hip hop artists. So like Eric B and Rakim had one, Public Enemy had one. I scooped up that copy of it, and a lot of the singles that you've mentioned already, I think all but one is on that album, and I ended up hearing most of all of their hits through there. And then I ended up going back to seeing which albums in particular end up which albums in particular actually had those singles, and Nations ended up having a lot of those on there. And I ended up hearing Rebel Without a Pause. And
Can
I'm
you
like,
take
wait.
me seriously wearing this big clock?
I did.
I'm like, yeah.
Flavor Zay.
Tell me what time it is.
Flavor Zay.
Flavor Zay.
It
Flavor
works,
Zay.
man. It works. You know what I'm
Zay
saying?
of Love?
Oh,
Coming up
man.
next, a spin-off of That's Hip Hop. Is Isaiah gonna find love?
Oh man, that show. Oh,
50 other hip hop female podcast hosts for the love of Isaiah Martinez.
oh my
Flavor
goodness.
Zay.
Man, that show spawned everything after.
Hey, you know what? But that goes to show the impact of.
Oh,
There we go.
Yeah.
that was hard.
That shows you the impact of what Flavor Flav does outside of Public Enemy. For VH1 to give him the nod of like, hey, look, he's charismatic enough to have his own show.
Right.
He actually has the gusto and enough to carry a show. But going back to the listening to this album, I ended up hearing a lot of the tracks even from Tony Hawk's Pro Skater,
Man.
the Anthrax Public Enemy combo.
Yep.
Ended up hearing them as well. But the one thing I really liked about Public Enemy was the fact that I can't relate to the the civil rights Black Power struggle, but I do identify this as like the quintessential Black Power album.
Oh, for sure.
To me, they were more than just music. They were a message. They actually encompassed a message. They were like the voice of the voiceless to a certain extent of hip hop, and that's kind of the struggle that Public Enemy kind of has to an extent, where it's like a lot of people will dig their message, but it will divide a lot of people. It is what it is. But circling back to the initial point of like hearing Public Enemy, dude, I was a fan big time. Like, I remember watching Terminator 2 and seeing John Connor actually wear the Public Enemy t-shirt. And I'm all like, as soon as I saw that, as soon as I saw it at the Virgin Megastore at like in 2004, 2003, I had to cop it quick because I never saw that. I never saw a re-release of that shirt. I don't know where it's at. I wish I still had it, man. There's plenty of pictures of me walking around high school with that shit on. But dog, Public Enemy to me was dope because it was like I never appealed to like mainstream rap, and I've always was like trying to listen to just rap that appealed to me, and that was conscious rap. And this to me was like on the extreme version of it, where dude, they're out there. Public Enemy was out there at that time giving you a message, letting you know, hey, look, we're taking the risk of not being super successful on the mainstream tip to let you know that this is a message. But the best part about them is that they still achieved that mainstream success.
Yeah.
They never had to sacrifice their message to succeed.
Yeah.
And I feel like I said, they were the group that, like I said, that made it cool for a while to be conscious. It was successful, and they were aggressive. It was not, subtle. They were in your face with it. They let you know exactly what it was from jump.
Yeah, and a group that's beyond color too. I even have a point up here that the group and the songs are the group Public Enemy and the songs are immortalized. And they're going to be immortalized too because there's always going to be a power to fight.
Right.
Oh, for sure.
Right. And even Flavor Flav, I mean, with the iconic clock, I mean, even the symbology of that, you know what time it is, or being conscious of what time it is, the urgency, the awareness.
Yep.
That will forever, that cements the legacy of Flavor Flav, Public Enemy. Like, you just see Flavor Flav, you instantly think back to Public Enemy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's funny because the label, they didn't want Flav to be part of the group.
Yeah.
And Chuck D was just like, we don't exist. We're not a group without Flavor Flav. Like, there is no Public Enemy without him. So you take us or we're shopping somewhere else.
Yeah, but peace to Chuck D on that.
Yeah.
Seeing that and recognizing he's important.
I had I think it was like a Rock the Bells 2007. And this is probably like the all-star lineup of 90s hip-hop that shows up. You had like Eric B. and Rakim, Africa Bambaataa, Nas, De La Soul's there, Cypress Hill, like all the big names. And I'm stuck between two stages, right? It's either Public Enemy on the main stage or I get to listen to MF Doom on the Living Legends area stage. Dude, I went with Doom, dog.
Yeah.
And while I'm passing by, I'm looking at the screens on the main stage, and then just, Public Enemy's ripping it so hard. And they're like, it's like apples and oranges trying to compare like MF Doom's like charisma on stage and everything to Public Enemy's just, dude, it's a show. Their set is a show.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, man.
And nowadays it's kind of rare
One of my
sighting to get
regrets.
both of them. It's kind of like a little bit rare because, I mean, I know Chuck D's been doing shows on his own sometimes. I think I Rocked the Bells recently. He was just on his own, like he shows up, but Flavor Flav wasn't there. Yeah. So yeah, if you can watch both of them,
man,
that's gonna be an experience. So with style wise, let's start with Chuck D on style. For me, when listening to him, I mean, Bring the Noise, I was telling you guys earlier, it was almost like there was just lines in there that are just so memorable and iconic. Just the way he says them is very powerful. He almost sounds like, to me, like a comic book narrator, almost like, you know, it's a bird, it's a plane. Like, he sounds like he has that gusto when he speaks, that is unlike any other MC that I can think of that has something like that. He mentioned that he's a fan. He's a big sports fan. That if he wasn't rapping, he would have wanted to get into like sports commentating.
Yep.
Makes total sense.
Yep.
Yeah. You could definitely picture that.
4-3.
Yeah.
Dude, he could have been the NBA. I think
You could picture
he
that.
might be the NBA Jam voice, but he doesn't.
That's right.
Yeah.
He's not credited on there,
Chakalaka.
but that could be him.
Yeah.
From downtown.
The rainbow. Like, yeah, you could totally hear that. I just like his style, man. When I first heard him, though, I didn't even really realize what I was listening to because I didn't know it was. I mean, the first track I heard him on was the Anthrax remix of "Bring the Noise" on Tony Hawk.
Yep.
And I didn't realize it was like, I didn't even think of it as hip hop per se because I thought because it sounds so rock. I thought it was just like, heavy metal rock like going on. But what he was doing on there, I was hearing all the rhymes. I'm like, dude, this dude is spitting though. And it's not just like, it's like real shit that he's spitting, like political, socially awareness, like all of that. And so I thought that was dope. I didn't really know of Public Enemy yet because, I'm still kind of young growing into, I didn't even know I was into hip hop quite yet. And then later, the way I saw Flavor Flav was through, I think it was Surreal Life.
Yep, that was before Flavor Love.
Yeah.
that was
the first
joint.
time.
when you start hooking up with Bridget
Bridget.
Nielsen.
So for me,
Lord.
for me, not knowing a Public Enemy like that and barely kind of coming into hip hop, seeing Flavor Flav for the first time on Surreal Life, I'm like, who is this guy? Because he's like so flamboyant. He's so, very just charismatic. He's like a little bit strange the way he does things, but very like, I don't know, dude. He was just different, stood out. And when he came on that show, blew up.
Oh yeah.
Show blew up.
Yeah.
I mean, that says a lot.
Dude, you had the who's who of people in there. I think you had the dude from Three's Company too, Danny Bonaducci. One thing I really liked about it is that the Surreal Life, a lot of the people that were in the Surreal Life had this string of shows that I used to like to watch. Was like I love the 70s, I love the 80s, and then I love the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And Flavor Flav was always in one of those shows, just giving his sidebar commentary. Right. And it's like, damn, this guy really had, he really had like memorable moments of just like, dude, you really wanted to know what Flavor Flav thought of Good Times. You wanted to know what Flavor Flav thought about the Jeffersons. Just shows like that, especially around the I love the 70s, man. He's very
crazy what people don't. I mean, he's like a classically trained like pianist. Like the dude,
he's musically inclined.
He can play a bunch of instruments. Like he's not just the character you see. The dude is actually musically gifted.
He's not your typical hype man because traditional hype man would be someone kind of more in the background still.
Right.
I'm thinking of like Busta Rhymes' hype
Spliff
man,
Star.
Spliff Star. Excellent hype man.
Yes.
But he's not a Flavor Flav.
Nah.
Right.
Flavor's a star in his own right.
There's another guy from the group Lost Boys. That would be the closest.
Freaky Tar.
Yeah, he's the closest I would say. That would be kind of like what Flavor Flav does.
Freaky Tar.
Some mentioned Lil Jon, but Lil Jon's different. He's more on the production side.
Right. And a DJ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's a little bit different.
Proof was Eminem's hype man in the beginning. You know what I mean? Before, but he's a member of a group himself and an MC, so he's not like yes, he was a hype man, but not in the traditional sense of like really truly being a hype man only. Like, Flav, there's a joint on here where Flav, raps.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but at the same time, his main, role was getting the crowd hype and putting his 2 cents on those heavy Chuck D lines and really putting that emphasis on the group. And he's the X factor of the group.
Yeah, period. His voice, and I say this from a couple of episodes from till now, is cut to tape. It's raw and ready. Straight to tape. I like that about him. Yeah. I think he had said he sees a little bit of himself in guys like Ghostface Killer. No, not Ghostface. I'm sorry. ODB.
Oh yes,
he sees a little bit of himself in ODB. He sees a little bit of himself in Busta. He sees a little bit of himself in Bushwick Bill from Ghetto Boys.
The characters, the real out there,
right? Very like kind of outlandish,
in your face.
He sees a bit of himself in that. I think one of the best decisions he made was with the clock.
Yeah,
he said it started off because it was a fashion thing. They would wear the I think the stopwatches like around the neck and stuff like that. And one day somebody was like kind of clowning around. They put like a big clock over his neck and they were all laughing at him like, but he ended up decided to keep it on.
Yeah.
And for a while it was Chuck D and him wearing one. I think even on the cover, I think he might have one on, but they were both wearing one for a while. Chuck D decided, it's kind of played out now, but Flavor Flav decided like, nah,
nope, this is my
I'm
thing.
Gonna keep rocking it. Best decision he's ever made, I think, with that, because that, if hip hop wise, like there's a music genre, like I've seen a music video. We just covered Exhibit. Exhibit did that music video. Oh, what was the song called? From 40 Days and 40 Nights, a big song.
What you see is what you get.
What you see is what you get. And in that video, you have a cameo from Flavor Flav.
Yep.
And just them dapping in that video was enough to like.
It's like the stamp of approval.
Yeah. To like, to really kind of like, it shows you just how dope it is. Like, Flavor Flav's there. Flavor Flav's kind of a little bit of everywhere,
Right.
It's dope.
And back then that kind of stuff mattered. Like that generation, they appreciated the ones that came before them and really like would elevate them, whether it's putting them in video, shouting them out, quoting the lyric, whatever the case may be. Like that was something in hip hop that, was very prevalent from touring to videos to albums, all of that kind of stuff. And, with Chuck D being like a serious father in hip hop, Busta Rhymes actually calls him his rap father, You know what I'm saying? He gave Busta Rhymes his name.
Yeah, that's
You
another
know what I'm saying? Like Chuck D
fact.
literally gave him his name. He had some crazy name that was.
He said that he used to belong to a baller, like a
Yeah, it
basketball.
was a football player, George Buster Rhymes.
That's right.
I think his first name was George, but yeah, he was called Buster. His last name was Rhymes, and yeah,
But I mean, I don't know, like what relation that had to him as a football player.
Mm-hmm. He just described. I guess he said his style and how he ran. I think he was a running back, and he was just like that kind of style. Just reminded him of Busta Rhymes because he said he had some crazy other name. He was like, nah, that's not it.
No affiliation to James Buster Douglas.
No, not at all. Not at all.
It's like, no, not that one. No, not that one.
Not that one.
That's crazy. Yeah, and then also, not to mention, Chuck D was a big part of Ice Cube's transition from NWA.
Absolutely.
That was another big, transition for him.
Mm-hmm. Yep. He said he looked at him as like an older brother in hip hop. That he really needed that when he left NWA because he was kind of on his own. And
then the idea of an enemy is honestly it's like it's not a color thing.
Yeah.
Like the enemy could be anybody.
Oh yeah.
That anybody sees, and it's someone that can look back at Public Enemy's tracks and be like, yeah, I could see the message being in relation to what I'm struggling with. Mm-hmm. I think that's the best part about Public Enemy because their idea is military, like the whole
very militant.
I would say like the gimmick of it, but they also know what they stand for, and it's everyone within hip hop. It's just not the black community.
Correct.
Yeah, that's always the one thing that really stood out to me, and what I really appealed about, what really like attracted me towards Public Enemy. That like something because I look at groups like Rage Against the Machine, and I'm like, okay, cool. They're kind of like activists and stuff like that, but they can't even get their own group together. They can't even like the lead singer bounces out all quick. But with Public Enemy, it's like, no, these guys actually stood on their foundation of like, hey, look, we're going to convey this message as a group, and at the risk of just achieving commercial success, we will keep on this mission.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like that's one of the factors that I really liked about Public Enemy is that they were standing on the business of like, hey, we have a message to convey. We're going to give it to the audience at the expense of additional success.
Right. Maybe we don't sell 5 million, but we're going to do what we do, and we're going to sell the records we're going to sell
and get a point across
and still make the point we need to make.
I think the whole like rock and roll fusion is also a bit unique. I know it's more hip hop, more leaning on hip hop, but there's definitely a rock infusion there.
That's that Rick Rubin.
Yeah. Once you get the Aerosmith, Aerosmith Run DMC Walk This Way kind of thing, you get that, like how Flavor Flav's giving you the blessing on a video, the music video with Exhibit. It's the same thing with Anthrax.
Yep.
And Anthrax is like punk rock.
Right, yeah.
And the fact that Anthrax is down enough to do a music video with them, Public Enemy's down to do a music video with them.
It shows you the versatility as well.
And Scott Ian's down to drop a couple of verses, like like, hey, say what I said in these 2 verses, you're good to go with it. And then just mix it that way.
Yeah. Big time, just versatile, man. I was telling you guys, it's a perfect marriage, to be honest. I mean, because when I'm hearing these beats, it sounds already like hard rock already as is, and then to actually just go ahead and turn that needle all the way. Just go ahead and like that was perfect with Anthrax and Public Enemy remixing that and doing that. That was just. I think that's legendary level to me.
Oh yeah, I mean the stuff that they would mix I don't even know where they found a lot of these. I mean, we talk about digging in the crates. Like this is like the definition of digging in the crates and sampling at its highest and sampling to the point where they sampled themselves all throughout the album.
There's samplings of sirens that sound similar to like a teapot boiling. When it's like steaming to where it's like. Like that's what this is what the music sounds like. It's like teetering on that, point of that boiling point.
Yeah, literally
throughout the whole album, which is sick. Let's talk about the album cover.
Man,
the album cover of Public Enemy, for those who are listening through the podcast, it has the Public Enemy logo at the very top center. It's in yellow and green, so the Public Enemy is in yellow. And then there's like a green underline or underscore to Public. And then to the right of that, you have their logo, which is a scope of somebody who's the Public Enemy. Then in the picture, you have Chuck D and Flava Flav, fly as hell.
Man.
And they're in jail, put in a cell, which represents, some of what they talk about in their album, which is where they feel like they're being oppressed in the sense of like the industry, in the sense of the government, in the sense of, just as mankind,
What I love about them in this cover is they're in jail, but they don't look remorseful at all.
No.
They look like, yeah, we did it.
Yep. Yeah.
So what? We do it again.
Point.
Like that's what their energy is giving me on this album
Dope
cover.
Point.
It's like, yeah, we know what we did it, and we'll do it again. That's what I'm getting from their whole vibe.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And then on the cover, it has the title of the album, which is a long title, but we've seen pretty long titles before.
Oh yeah.
It takes a nation of millions to hold us back, which is already a profound.
Their
album
titles
title.
are just, I mean,
Yeah.
what was the first one? Yo Bum Rush the Show.
Yeah, that was
You
a
got
sick
this
title,
one.
Fear of a Black
Fear of a
Planet.
Black Planet. Like,
that was a
really?
sick one.
Like, to put
Dude,
that.
and that cover's dope too.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's
that
a dope
cover's
cover.
sick.
I mean, they are so unapologetic about who they are and what they represent. That's what makes them so dope.
This is going to be one of those album covers where you're just like, yeah, it's memorable. It's all of what you want, especially with the idea of what your group stands on.
Yeah.
It's, you got them in jail, as Ali mentioned, just, yeah, we did it.
Mm-hmm.
And just understanding that, hey, it's going to take a lot of people to hold us back, just the group.
Mm-hmm.
And take millions of y'all to hold us back.
Yeah.
You got them. It's just.
He had mentioned a quote. I'm going to paraphrase it, but maybe you guys can look it up if you're really interested. Regarding this title, I think he was asked a question, kind of what that meant, and he said something to the likes of, "Yeah, because there's a million motherfuckers that are like holding you back as far as like, like I was mentioning, the government, the industry, people, like in work environment, like there's all these kinds of people that are like, kind of like in a way to trying to hold you to reach your potential."
Yeah.
And it's speaking to that enemy that they're fighting, and I thought that was dope because it's so relatable on so many different levels of, just kind of fighting that force that's opposing you, trying to suppress you.
We can actually relate to that here on the show because it's going to take a million people not subscribing to hold us back.
We just break the fourth wall.
There you go.
The fourth wall.
I forgot to mention Chuck D is also wearing a Raider hat, which is a very iconic one.
That was the hat of the day.
Ice Cube wore that hat.
Dude, Flavor Flav also too. I forget to mention while we were talking about him. He's the one figure in hip hop along with Slick Rick.
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
Bishop Don Magic Juan, as these guys are like that are always on.
Yeah.
You never see them outside of what they're like. They always look fresh, clean.
Yeah.
Like I've never seen Slick Rick like without looking nice.
Never.
Yeah.
Flavor Flav looking presented as he always is.
When they accepted the Hall of Fame, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Flavor Flav said something. He goes, "This is going to be the last time you see me," and he's like pointing at the clock. With this particular clock, because the next time you're going to see me is going to be
a whole different one.
Yeah.
Like this is
like
just
to
who
your
I
point.
am.
Yeah, they're always on.
Yeah, I think even at his roast,
Yeah, he had a roast too.
the roast is so common.
Hilarious.
I forgot about that.
Dude.
I think was it Cat Williams hosting it?
He talked about it. Yeah, he was there.
I think one of the something Ross. I forget the homeboy's name.
I know the
he
roasting
says he's
king.
like, ladies and gentlemen, he's all like, as much as you guys would like to believe, this isn't an open casket for James Brown. This is the roast of Flavor Flav. And this is like right after James Brown passes away. This isn't an open casket for James Brown.
Yeah. quick story. Since we brought up the roast, quick story.
Go ahead.
Now, Cat Williams did a stand up on it, and he was talking about how mean and harsh and cruel the jokes were. He was like, man, I felt so bad for Flavor Flav. He said they called him all kind of crispity, crunchity, crackety coons, and I just felt terrible. And when I approached him afterward, he didn't look sad at all. And I said, Flav, how are you not mad or sad or upset? They called you all kind of crispity, crunchity, crackety coons. And he said, well, they gonna call me those names? They got to pay me, boy. He said, and that is a man that is in tune with his star player.
Yes.
Yeah, boy.
He knows who he is.
Yeah.
So he don't let none of that get to him.
That's pretty dope. Yeah, that's pretty fire. That's what I like about Flavor Flav is I don't think Flavor Flav works without that authenticity. Like he's a genuine, that's who he is. Like he's going to be himself 100% of the time. Was always against like racism and stuff, always trying to unite people together. I think he mentioned something about, he got some flack about being on stage with the Beastie Boys, I think, because I don't know, you're talking about a group of white boys,
Yeah, it's the contrast of like, because with Public Enemy, the person in the target is pretty much the Black Panther, and I could just imagine the people like that are super fans of Public Enemy. They're like, you're with the Beastie Boys,
Right?
Like, man, what the?
Not realizing Rick Rubin does half the music. Not realizing, who they collab with.
Yeah, and
their messages for everybody.
Yeah, and at its core, it's like, dude, hip hop's been about. It hasn't just been a black thing, It's like rap could be for everybody.
Right.
Yeah, it has so much difference. Like, I was listening to Cypress Hill a little bit, and I'm like, Cypress Hill made it like it's still hip hop, but it's a different sound, to that. And I think, and now we see it everywhere in the world. There's different sounds now. But
People rapping in Singapore. There's people rapping in Mexico.
Okay.
Like, dude, wasn't it like a Filipino rap battle that I've seen a clip about? Like, there's there's like Asian, like Southeast Asian rap battles.
It's everywhere, man.
Yeah, it's really.
You don't know what they're saying, but then everyone's like, oh. I'm like, dude, that O is universal.
Right.
That O could be translated in thousands of languages.
You're stupid. All right, so for those who haven't really watched the show, make sure you follow us, like and subscribe. But the way it works is we choose 3 songs out of the album, and then we go ahead and dive into the lyrics to see, the rhyme schemes, to see, what's the subject, like what's being talked about, kind of digging into the punchlines, and just kind of going, deeper into the songs. So we're not going to actually be playing the audio version. We're going to be going through the songs and taking you to a deeper dive, a deeper level with the show. So the 3 tracks that we chose. This is a really dope album.
With 5 singles, we have to whittle it down to 3. It's like the wickedest NCAA tournament we had to deal
exactly. with. First one's going to be Bring the Noise. Second one's going to be Don't Believe the Hype. Don't believe the hype.
Don't.
Third one is going to be Rebel Without a Pause.
Pause.
Those are the 3. We're going to be diving into. Again, this album was produced by Chuck D. And then we also had Rick Rubin. And then we also had, who else was on
DJ
this?
Terminator X produced.
DJ Terminator X. I forgot to mention him too. DJ Terminator X was on there.
Yeah.
And then Hank Shockley, Carl Ryder as well. I want to mention that. So we're going to go into the first track. The first track, Bring the Noise, we were kind of already talking a little bit about that.
Yeah.
I do want to mention just really quick the beginning intro, the countdown to Armageddon. I know that was a show they did in London, which was a very iconic show. So it was cool because throughout this album, they kind of have like clips of their live performances.
Yeah,
and I love that because it kind of felt like you were in the live performance.
Back.
Yeah. And it just shows you little bits of like how dope they are live. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're all about the show.
Yeah. So that was pretty sick. So Bring the Noise is going to be the first track that we're going to get into. Now I want to mention really quick in regards to this track. This track is just one of the bigger anthems of hip hop.
Yeah,
You know, when we
exactly.
talk about anthems, hip hop anthems, Bring the Noise is one of those anthems.
I mean, that the first verse is one of the most iconic opening
Yes.
verses
Yes.
in the history of hip hop.
And this track, you know, it criticizes the media's portrayal of hip hop and asserting the cultural and political power of the genre.
Yep.
You know, because they were being criticized after I think the first album, they were being criticized as being a bunch of noise, that they were just making a bunch of noise. And they're in a way saying, no, it's not just noise. We're saying something and turn it up. Like, you know, so I just thought that in itself is just so sick, so sick. The message behind that alone to me was dope. So don't believe the hype. We got first. Flavor Flav sample. I think Ali, you mentioned something to this effect.
Oh yeah, they sample themselves throughout this album. I mean, you hear lyrics they say, and I mean just even the first word on Bring the Noise, bass. Like that's sampled on at least 2 or 3 other songs on this album.
That's too funny. All right, so you want to start off with the first one, either Ali or Mark?
Are we going Don't Believe the Hype or
Bring the Noise?
Bring the Noise. Okay, yeah, I'll start. Yeah, I'll go with the first verse. All right, here we go. So first, you know, Flav is talking.
I want to mention.
Yep,
they have a clip of Malcolm X as well.
Yep.
And his most famous, you know, one of his more famous speeches, like this speech. I mean, if you haven't heard it, man, go back and listen to that speech.
Yep.
That speech is powerful, man.
Yeah, it starts with Malcolm. He goes, too black,
Yeah.
too strong, too black, too strong. And then you got Flav jumping on, yo, Chuck, these honey drippers all still fronting on us. Show them that we can do this, because we always knew this. Ha ha, yeah, boy. And then here we go. Bass, how low can you go? Death Row, what a brother know. Once again, back is the incredible rhyme animal, the uncannibal.
Okay,
Deep,
stop
like,
there.
come on, man.
Stop there, man.
Like, this is just...
And it's not super lyrical, but it's authoritative.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not about
Just the first word alone.
bass. He's hitting you right there.
That alone has been sampled so many
a
times.
million times on other records.
Yeah,
Like
just bass.
just that first word. That's how he really grabs you when he starts records. I love that about Chuck
I love
D.
the fact that, like, even in his own voice, he's giving the bass. How low can you go?
Mm-hmm.
No need to
Man.
double anything up.
Nah.
He's just natural with that.
And I was thinking about that line because I was like, okay, what is the meaning here? Because it's vague enough where it can be interpreted in different ways. I saw 3 layers to that. Bass, how low can you go? One, just audibly, you know, vocally, how low can you go? But then on another layer, bass can also be a term for cocaine.
Yep.
You know, so how low can you go? Like hitting rock bottom. Another layer is like bass. How low can you go? Like, you know, the government. How low can you stump to like really like trying to push us down? So how low can you go? Like forcing us down. So already, I mean, if you look at it in that way, I mean, it's so like there's just different angles you can take this first line, and I think that's why what makes Chuck D so great is, you know, sometimes he'll do that to you. Like you're not sure which angle he's talking about, but either one you choose
is fire regardless.
It's fire either way.
Absolutely. Yeah, he does that. I mean,
then like statistically, he knows his numbers. Like Death Row, What a Brother Know. I think around that time, statistically, you know, I think there was a higher percentage of African American in like incarcerated. So
even on death row too.
Yes, particularly on death row.
I mean, it's literally the prison industrial complex.
That's
like,
crazy.
You know, 13% of the American population, yet we're, you know, 50% of the prison population. Like the numbers aren't adding up. You know what I mean? It's not making sense.
Math's not mathing.
No, not at all. So then he goes, you know, once again, back is the incredible rhyme animal, the uncannibal.
Can we just stop and be in awe of that one line just for a moment? Like
once again, back is
moment, just a
even
moment.
even that sample too.
A million times.
Oh, yeah.
The incredible,
By M,
the
by
incredible.
Rakim, by like there's so many people that sampled
Fat
that.
Joe, a bunch of people. Like that
Back
one
is the
line
incredible.
is classic. Eminem mentioned it in one of his songs. Like it's just classic.
Yeah,
And I don't know what it is about it, man. Because it's so simple yet so Like
legendary.
The delivery, bro.
Yeah,
like Chuck
it's
D's.
all in the delivery.
It's the delivery, yeah.
It's all in how he said it.
Chuck D's never going to be super lyrical.
He's not trying to be.
But what he capitalizes on is the fact that, hey, these are two things. I have a message to bring across to you, and I'm going to deliver it like this. And those two automatically put him up in high regard. Like even Kumo D puts him in high regard as being one of the best MCs ever, you know? And even at you guys, like a lot of people in hip hop around this time, they got to be super thankful that Chuck D never got too lyrical.
Right.
Because after that, it would have been another factor of dog, it's it.
If he was spitting like a Rakim or Big Daddy Kane or something, it would have been out of here. It wouldn't have been fair.
Yeah.
Like him being a little more simple lyrically, let people have room to breathe.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And then even his message still gave him his own avenue to trailblaze. Because even Rakim and KRS-One and Big Daddy Kane all had their own direction, all had their own signature styles and everything. And Chuck D still, like, even just as another pillar in hip hop.
Right.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Holding up the foundation.
Absolutely, man. I mean, we did all this, and I just read 2 bars. That's how iconic this verse is.
Yeah, dude.
He goes, he goes, rhyme animal, the uncannibal, D, public enemy number 1, 5-0 said freeze, and I got none. Can you tell that I never really had a gun, but it's the wax that the Terminator X spun. Now they got me in the set. Like, there. Come on, this is nuts.
Couple of references. So when he goes from D, public enemy number 1, a track reference to the album from Bum Rush, the
show. Yep.
The show. There's a track on there called Public Enemy number 1. Check that track out. You know, it's kind of one of those, you know, every MC has it where they're talking about, like, you know, the sucker MC trying to challenge me. It's one of those tracks for Chuck D. Phenomenal track. I think lyrically, he just kills it. So that's a reference. Also another reference here. Can I tell him that I really never had a gun? So that referencing another track as well, where he's talking about his Uzi is real heavy.
Yeah.
But he's talking lyrically. His Uzi is heavy. But, you know, from those in the media who were criticizing him, talking like, you know, well, this music's bringing out violence and stuff like that, kind of talking as if he has a gun.
Right. Yeah.
And so that's a reference to, that's a, you know, shot fired back to the media. Like, you know, do I need to tell him that I didn't have a gun? It was just me lyrically killing it.
Right. He said, but it's the wax that the Terminator X spun. Now they got me in the cell because my records they sell because a brother like me said, well, fair comes a profit, and I think you ought to listen to. Like,
I love it just straight out. It's just
Dog,
straight out.
You ever want to, like, lose followers or do all that? Like,
Farrakhan's a prophet.
Yeah.
He took a stand.
Just like repost anything with Farrakhan, like providing insight. Everyone will give you something.
That comment section will be on fire. Go ahead and do that. Yeah. He said, Farrakhan's a prophet, and I think you ought to listen to what he can say to you. What you ought to do is follow. For now, power to the people say, make a miracle. D, pump the lyrical. Black is back, all in. We're gonna win. Check it out. Yeah, yo, come on. Here we go again. Like,
another sample.
Here we go again. Like, that has been sampled for 30 plus years.
We're gonna have the Public Enemy sample counter. Like, it's up at 5 now.
Crazy. Like, the way he just
incredible.
Here we go again. Like, come on. Like, that is just, that line is iconic how he said it. No one can ever say here we go again like him.
Yep.
Legendary.
Yeah, dude. It's it's very legendary, man. Then you have Flavor Flav coming in. Turn it up, bring the noise. You hear him in the background. Hey, yo, Chuck, they're saying we too black, man. Bring the noise. Yo, I don't understand what they're saying, but little do they know they could get a smack for that, man. I love that. I love that reference, man. That reference to Rakim. It's just a
you could get a smack for this.
Get a smack for this.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a dope one.
Legendary.
Verse 2, oh my God. This verse right here, dude.
Another great one.
I don't know, man. I really like the fact that he's going to the double time bass.
Oh yeah,
I don't even know. Like, I know he's not going out of control lyrically here or off the hinges or nothing, but there's something about that where I'm just like, it to me is just genius. Just hitting you. Never better than bad because the brother is madder than mad at the fact that's corrupt like a senator. Soul on a rope and you treat it like soap on a rope because the beats and the lines are so dope. Yeah.
What?
And meanwhile,
Yeah.
Nuts.
I love even what he's saying in there because I was trying to like, okay, what does this mean? Never better than bad because the brother is madder than mad. I feel like he's saying that it's never been this bad until now that you have made me like basically mad at that boiling point.
Right.
And now here I am. Like, you wanted this. This is what you get now. And at the fact, it's corrupt like a senator. So again, government, politics, senators being corrupt. I mean, that's we know that already goes on already. Yep. But then I thought he was saying at first, I thought this was connected at the fact it's corrupt like a senator's soul. I thought that's what he was saying.
Like a connect to it after the next bar.
I understand now that it's a whole separate thing. So soul on a roll. So like the momentum, we're on this momentum now. Our soul, like this music, soul, like it's on a roll, but you want to treat it like soap
on a rope.
On a rope. So you're like holding it back, you're containing it, you're tying us up. So I thought that was sick because the beats and the lines are so dope. Yeah, dude. Listen for lessons I'm saying inside music that the critics are all blasting me for. They'll never care for the brothers and sisters. Why? Because the country has us up for the war. We got to get them straight. Come on now. They're gonna have to wait
till we get it right.
Just that already. Radio stations that question the blackness. They call themselves black, but will they see if
play this?
See if they play
they call us black, but we'll see if they play this.
Okay.
Okay. All right. You say you black. We'll play this then. We'll see if you see how black you really are.
Black you really are. That's tight.
Yep. He literally put the feet to the fire. Again, that's why we're saying the message is universal. It's not attacking one person. He's attacking every facet of the system.
Yeah.
Even those that claim, blackness and whatever else. Like, okay, show me then.
Yeah. Turn it up. Bring the noise. Yo, turn it up. Hey, yo, Chuck, the illin'.
We chillin'.
Bring the noise.
Yo, P in the house, top billing. But yo, Chuck, show him what you could do, boy. Man. Get it from in front of me. The crowd runs to me. My DJ is warm. He's X. I call him Norm, Pete's always giving dap to DJ Terminator X.
Always.
He can cut a record from side to side. So what? The ride, the glide, should be much safer than a suicide. So, so the cuts of the record are going to be the symbolism to cutting yourself to commit suicide.
Okay, so we had to cut the show and restart it because
we had to cut the show.
The audio cut off. The incredible.
We had to cut the show.
So now we're back.
Difficulties.
Yeah, I think right after Mark brought up suicide, we had to kind of stop the show.
To bum rush the show.
Think about what we were talking about. No, just kidding. No, so think about what we talked about. No, what we left off. We left off on the third verse. Bring the noise, and we were talking about how he was giving props to the DJ and cutting and mixing. That was a dope line already.
Yeah. So the DJ cutting the record puts it to the equivalent of cutting a record. Gliding and going back and forth on the cut of the record.
Yeah.
And they would say that it's much safer to do that than a suicide.
Right.
So soul control, beat is the father of your rock and roll. Music is for watching, for which, and you call a band, man. Making the music, abuse it, but you can't do it, You call them demos, but we ride limos too. What you gonna do? Rap is not afraid of you. Beat is for Sonny Bono. Beat is for Yoko Ono.
Okay,
now Zay,
stop there. Yeah,
you had a good take on what this was.
So what I was talking about is in regards to this line, and just in general, what he's talking about is that it doesn't matter who you are in music, whether you're in rock and roll, whether you're in funk, whether you're in disco. It doesn't matter what music you play. You're gonna be riding the beat. Correct. In other words, so he's making it very universal. At a time when rock and roll was kind of more the dominating music genre in this period of time. He is saying, like, you know, we're the same thing. Like, you know, rock and roll follows a beat too. And I thought that was so dope because he opened the floodgates and like, hey, he's bringing everybody in.
Right.
Like this isn't just hip hop. This is music. Like let's turn up the noise. And I thought that was dope. So it doesn't matter if you're Sonny Bono. It doesn't matter if you're Yoko Ono. Like you got to follow the beat. You know?
Right,
So
right.
that's why he's sick.
Run DMC first said a DJ could be a band. So peace to Jam Master Jay. Rest in peace. Stand on its own feet. Get out your seat. Beat is for Eric B and LL as well. Hell. So referencing Eric B from Eric B and Rakim. LL Cool J as well.
Yeah.
Hell. Wax is for Anthrax. So this line probably brought in the remix. Brought in like the permission of like, hey, Anthrax, hit us up. We should do the remix.
He was a genuine fan of Anthrax. You know, he was a rock and roll head too.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's why we get the fusion of hip hop and rock.
Or even call Public Enemy the punk rock equivalent.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
You know, could still rock bells. So even alluding to Rock the Bells there.
The remix though with Anthrax was so legendary.
Oh, dude.
That's
fire.
Yeah, legendary. The music video, all of that, man.
The energy.
It just shows you, because already listening to Public Enemy, it's already, you know, you get the rock element in there, but then like it only makes sense to just turn that notch more and just go full on rock now, featuring Chuck D and Flava Flav. You know, that's ill. That's real ill.
And it goes to answer the statement that you had: ever, forever, universal, it will sell. So that beat, the message of the beat being universal, gets answered here. Ever, forever, universal.
How many MCs can cross over like that? Not a lot of MCs can cross over that way and it work.
In the mention to Public Enemy with Anthrax.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, it's you don't get that combination a lot, and it's every time that it's been done, it's memorable. Look at Walk This Way with Run DMC and Aerosmith. You don't get
I think of Nelly crossing over to country.
Dude.
He kind of did that.
Over and over.
Yeah, Nelly did his own thing on that one.
Yeah.
What is it? When we went to that concert, he was the first one to tell you, he's like, he went number one pop, number one rap, number one country, and then
he had a good claim on that.
Dude,
R&B.
he's the only one to go number one in all three genres. And then R&B too. So that puts him in like rare. He's the only artist.
Only
artist. That's crazy.
It's like holding each belt in every.
He's like the undisputed champ on that.
4
instance.
different weight classes.
So ever, forever, universal, it will sell. And this is a great nod to Terminator X and a clever double of this line. Time for me to exit. Terminator exit. I like that.
Brilliant.
Put your sauce all over that.
That would have been cool to put the X-Men theme song after that if they made this a little later. Terminator exit. Turn it up. Bring the noise.
All that collision.
Public Enemies running with Cyclops and freaking Wolverine.
Running Magneto and them coming the other way.
All that going on.
Professor X and Terminator X.
Boy.
Wild.
I picture Professor X having that little sidecar like in the cartoons with Flavor Flav in that sidecar. Yo, they should know by now they can't stop this bum rush. Word up. Better keep telling me to turn it down. But yo, Flavor Flav ain't going out like that.
Not at all.
Yeah, dude. And I was going to mention that they're very similar to Tribe Called Quest, the way Q-Tip and Fife they come in seamlessly together. That's what you hear here too. Their timing is impeccable.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the kind of combination that you want from your fellow artists within your group. It's like you want to have that type of chemistry.
Yeah.
Jadakiss and Styles P really big on that too.
Yeah.
The back-to-back flow.
Yeah, I think of Just a Law and
Vinny Paz.
Stuff like that. Hey, yo, Griff, they thirsty. S1W, we got to handle this. We ain't going out like that. Yo, man, straight up on the Columbo tip. We can't do this.
We still have verse 4.
I'm already skipping verse 4.
We got verse 4.
Remember, there's 4 verses.
Chuck D does 4 verses.
The thing is, Ali brought up the point that, there's 4 verses that he's doing, which is not typically done these days, especially these days.
He's like, they want a message. Okay, I got him.
Right. He gives you 4. He goes from coast to coast, so you stop being like a comatose. Stand, my man. The beat's the same with the bros toast. Rock with some pizzazz. It'll last while you ask. roll with the rock stars, still never get accepted as. We gotta plead the fifth. You can investigate. Don't need to wait. Get the record straight. Hey, posse in effect. Got flavor Terminator X to sign checks. Play to get paid. We gotta check it out. We gotta check it out down on the avenue. A magazine or two is dissing me and you. Yeah, I'm telling you. Like,
hey, yo, Griff, you ain't thirsty S1W. We got to handle this. We ain't going out like that. Yo, man, straight up on the Colombo tip. We can do this like Brutus.
Because we always knew this.
You know what I'm saying? There's just one thing that puzzles me, my brother. What's wrong with all these people around me, man? Is they clocking? Is they rocking? Is they shocking? And then it like fades out.
The message I wanted to make sure that we got out of verse 4, and it pretty much summarizes the struggle that hip hop was dealing with in the 1980s. It's roll with the rock stars, still never get accepted as.
Oh, yeah.
Deep.
So the rock stars are all digging what hip hop is. You know, some would even say that rock's still like it's a culmination of the same struggle, but you know, sounds different.
Right.
Those artists are accepted by the mainstream. The rock stars kick it with the hip hop heads, but they're still not accepted. You know, hip hop as a whole was not accepted in that instance. And we're still dealing with that stigma today where
it's like if they have a higher prestige or something.
Exactly.
Right.
You look at a group like the Rolling Stones, almost in their 80s at this point, still selling out concerts.
Right.
Treated like
Metallica,
legends.
AC/DC, whenever they perform, still have these has the same essence. But hip hop within themselves gives off this, oh man, it's like, oh, he's still rapping.
Right.
It's like, bro, it's like,
he doesn't know when
music.
to give it up.
Yeah, it's music. It's art.
Right.
That's
not
what it
sports.
is. Yeah. And we're still dealing with that same type of stigma where it's like, there's no timetable for this hip hop stuff.
No.
You know,
it's
crazy that this issue was prevalent then, and now it's magnified a lot more now.
I think it was because it was believed to be more of a young man sport,
and they thought it was a lot. I mean, back then they still thought it was a fad.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't even think it would. They didn't even think it would be around long enough to, you know, for rappers to be 40, 45 and be relevant. They thought within 5-10 years it'd be out of here.
But I do see it turning a corner a bit.
A little. It's gotten a little better.
As I mentioned it before, like we wouldn't have been doing this, you know, if it hadn't been turning some sort of corner.
Right.
And I think even just doing this, it shows that. You know?
Going to see Wu-Tang perform. The Locks are about to go on tour.
Yep. We're getting a lot of these people, a lot of these MCs popping back up ever since the 50th year, you know, coming back to life, which is nice to see.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, then you finally get certain rappers are getting their just due on that.
Yes.
They're getting the flowers. And then we have podcasts like, you know, Drink Champs, you know, starting to give the flowers.
Yeah,
definitely.
So that's dope. All right, so we're moving on to the second track, which is Don't Believe the Hype. Don't believe the hype. You talked about that sample a little bit. You said that Vanilla Ice had used that.
So I heard that sample on Vanilla Ice's one of his tracks on To the Extreme, his first album. But then you end up hearing this too. You're hearing that cut into this Public Enemy album as well. So it's like, it's funny. It's like I never thought those would ever be connected in that instance. But
I love this track because, you know, it is throwing shots back at the media, because the media was criticizing Public Enemy and, you know, portraying hip hop in this negative light. And, you know, that's where this song comes about. It's like, you know, what are you going to really believe? Like, just listen to the music and hear it for yourselves. Because they were being called like, oh, you're making a lot of noise. You know, it's noisy music.
Yeah, hip hop as a whole is hype.
Yeah, and they flipped that on them. They were like, don't believe the hype. You know, like, that's dope. And then you could take that universally for anything.
Anything.
I had mentioned to you guys, I didn't want to say it, but I mentioned Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
You know, because there was so much hype surrounding her, and her epic, you know, battle with Holly Holmes, you know, kind of like showed you not always to buy into that, you know, to the hype of.
Don't believe the hype.
Yeah, and like Public Enemy's message against the enemy, you know, is always going to be the thing that's going to keep them immortalized, because there's always going to be this hero and villain dynamic
always
throughout history, throughout music. Now, this is actually layered to an effect where hype can be deemed sports hype.
Yeah.
You know, Sam Bowie, don't believe the hype. You have the hype of what's going on with, especially at this time in '88, Desert Storm.
Yeah.
You also have hype in every which regard that people can apply this to.
Absolutely.
And that's why even still to this day, people are saying, man, don't believe the hype.
Or, you know, even food. Like, you know, there's always hype around certain restaurants.
The new restaurant, the new flavor of the month.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like, even goes to that, like anything, you know, especially these days, we have, we tend to whenever there's something like in the news, like everybody wants to comment on it. And
it even plays into the FOMO, even plays to fear of missing out.
Man,
you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's still to this day, you'll hear people still say the same and saying it in the Flavor Flav way. Don't believe the hype. So Chuck D, verse 1, we have back, caught you looking for the same thing. It's a new thing. Check out this I bring. Uh-oh, the roll below the level, because I'm living low next to the bass. Come on, turn up the radio. They claiming I'm a criminal, but now I wonder how. Some people never know. The enemy could be their friend, guardian. I'm not a hooligan. I rock the party and all. I rock the party in. Clear all the madness. I'm not a racist. Preach to teach to all, because some never knew they had this. Number one, not born to run about the gun. I was licensed, I wasn't licensed to have one. The minute they see me, fear me. I'm the epitome of public enemy. Used, abused without clues. I refuse to blow a fuse. They even had it on the news.
Well, even without the instrumentation, the instrumentals, we can still,
you know how
we know his cadence, we know his style.
They even had it on the news.
We even have,
don't believe the hype.
We even have the whole, one bar can actually summarize the message and the intent of what Public Enemy is at this time. And it's like the message that Public Enemy has always had: preach to teach to all.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Chuck D, his style is, you know, he raps like he's behind a podium, you know, and so it's preach to teach to all, you know.
And I mean, again, even though overall his lyricism might be, you know, not the most complex, he still gives you those little moments though. Used, abused, without clues. I refuse to blow a fuse. Like they even had it on the news. Like he gives you those pockets where he's like, I really still can flow. Like
I could do this.
Don't get it twisted. I mean, it's message over, you know, crazy complex lyricism, but I can go there if I need to.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? I kind of like that he does that from time to time.
Yeah.
You got verse 2, he goes, yes, was the start of my last jam. So here it is again, another Def Jam. But since I gave you a little something that I knew you lacked, they still consider me a new jack. All the critics, you can hang them, I hold the rope, but they hope to the Pope and pray it ain't dope. The follower of Farrakhan. There's that guy again. There's that guy again.
There's that guy again.
But is it, mama, there goes that man again. The follower of Farrakhan. They'll tell me that you understand till you hear the man. The book of the new school rap game. Writers treat me like Coltrane.
But
insane.
Can I stop you there?
Yeah,
you know what's kind of crazy is like, that doesn't even rhyme. The follower of Farrakhan. Don't tell me that you understand until you hear the man. There's like no rhyme going on. Yeah,
that doesn't rhyme with Farrakhan. He just had to throw that in there.
Yeah. No, he didn't even try. I know he could have rhymed it.
He could have.
Yeah. There's just, you know, I just found that funny and interesting.
He just had to make sure you got that name in there. Like,
but it's the way he even says it that still makes it sound good. The follower of Farrakhan.
Right.
Like, I don't even know how you describe that, but it's just the delivery alone satisfies you.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Even though there's no rhyme going on.
He makes up for it, you know?
Yeah.
He just, it's a delivery so impactful that there's always exceptions.
Yeah,
that can be made.
To the rules.
Absolutely. The book of the new school rap game. Writers treat me like Coltrane. Insane. Yes to them, but to me, I'm a different kind. We're brothers of the same mind. I'm blind, caught in the middle and not surrendering. I don't rhyme for the sake of Ritalin. I love that's like a double meaning right there. I love that. Some claim I'm a smuggler. Some say I've never heard of you. I'm a rap burglar. False media. We don't need it, do we? It's fake. That's what it be to you. Dig me? Your Terminator X. Step up to understand and show these people what time it is, boy.
I love that. Always thinking of the performance live, you know. So I love that they include that in the song,
because those bars can even amplify
The show.
live,
live performance. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you hear him say that and they get
'Cause
going.
it's deliberately put in there, and then at a show, it's just
It's going to be hype.
perfect for it.
Perfect.
Verse 3. Don't believe the hype. It's a sequel. As an equal, can I get this through to you? My 98 booming with the trunk of funk. All my jealous punks can't stop the dunk. Coming from the school of hard knocks, some perpetrate. They drink Clorox, attack the black because I know they lacked exact the cold facts, and still they try to Xerox.
That's
Cats.
crazy,
Woo.
man.
The leaders of the new school, uncool, never played the fool, just made the rules. Remember, there's a need to get alarmed. Again, I said I was the time bomb in the daytime radio, scared of me because I'm mad, plus I'm the enemy. They can't come on and play me in prime time because I know the time.
Because I'm getting
They
mine.
can't play me in prime time because I know
the
the time.
time.
That's sick. That's sick.
Because I'm getting mine.
Oh man, because I'm getting mine. Shoot, I get on the mix late in the night. They know I'm living right, so here goes the mic. Psych. Before I let it go, don't rush my show. They try to reach and grab and get elbowed. Word to Herb, yo. If I can't swing this, learn the words. You might sing this. Just a little bit of the taste of bass for you as you get up and dance at the LQ. When some deny it, defy it, I swing bolos. And then they clear the lane, I go solo. The meaning of all that, some media is the whack. As if you believe it's true, it blows me through the roof. Suckers, liars, get me a shovel. Some writers I know are damn devils. From them I say, don't believe the hype. Yo, Chuck, they might be on the pipe, right? They pens and pads I'll snatch because I've had it. I'm not an addict feeding for static. I'll see the tape recorder and grab it. No, you can't have it back, silly rabbit. I'm going to my media assassin, Harry Allen. I got to ask him, yo, Harry, you're a writer. Are we that type? Don't believe the hype. That was a crazy one.
Man, that was a lot in that. There was a lot in that
there was
verse.
a lot in that for
Like,
sure.
that verse was wow.
Don't believe the hype.
Amazing.
I got flavor in all those things you know. Yeah, boy. Part 2, bum rush the show. Yo, Griff, get the green, red, black, red and black and red and gold down. Countdown to Armageddon. 88, you wait, the S1s will. Put it the left in effect and I still will. Rock the hard jams. Treat it like a seminar. Reach the bourgeois and rock the boulevard. So just the contrast of like this jam is going to reach from here to here.
To there.
Some say I'm negative, but they're not positive. So they're not even sure if I'm that.
Right.
Like, what's the message that I convey? Do you know? No, you don't. You're portraying it as one, but it's not that. But what I got to give, the media says this, red, black, and green, you know what I mean? Yeah, don't believe that hype. They got to be beaming that pipe, you know what I'm saying? Yo, the Megas got him going up to see Captain Kirk. Getting so high off the pipe, man, you end up going on the Enterprise.
He's to Star Trek.
Like a jerk and they out of work. Let me tell you a little something, man. A lot of people on daytime radio scared of us because they're too ignorant to understand the lyrics of the truth that we pumping into them clogged up brain cells. That's just spun. That's just spun. That just spun the little wooden skulls they call caps. You know what I'm saying? But the S ones will straighten out quick, fast, in a hurry. Don't worry, Flavor's vision ain't blurry. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
Terminator X.
I just love how he did that. Like,
Yeah, boy.
he was like, you know what? Okay, Flav, go ahead. He just let Flav just spaz out. Like,
He ends up fading him out too at the end of it. He's like, all right.
Yep, just go ahead, spaz.
Don't believe the hype.
So a lot of other good tracks in here as well. We got Cold Lamping with Flavor Flav. So Flavor's doing his own thing. And it's I was mentioning to the guys earlier that you're getting a lot of Chuck D, and sometimes it might be overbearing. And so I love the fact that, you know, Chuck D kind of realizes this, and he gives Flavor Flav the opportunity, hey, you know, do your thing to kind of give the audience some space from me.
Yes.
Yeah. Terminator X, do your thing. And so and then we have an interlude. So it gives plenty of space where you get to breathe a little bit because it's a lot coming at you.
Out the gate.
The first two tracks, a lot coming at you.
Yeah, you get to think about it like a long film, very dense film, but then it needs that intermission in the middle.
Right. Yep. Exactly.
Needs about the 10, 15 minute intermission.
Perfect metaphor. Honorable mention was Night of the Living Bassheads, Black Steel in the Hour of Chaos. We almost chose that track.
Amazing.
So close. And that one, he tells a story about being in prison and escaping it as a metaphor for like the oppression and that, you know, that we see today even. Yeah. So that was dope. And that also plays into the album cover of the album, which is, you know, sick. But we went with Rebel Without a Pause. Very iconic track. The beat is very memorable. Just that siren. Yeah, that like the beats were so. I'm gonna just speak to the production of this. The beats were so different as well. Like the beats, as iconic as Chuck D is and Flavor Flav, the beats are equally as iconic because they're just hard hitting. Like it's in your face, it's unforgettable.
It's perfect for that. I mean, the name of their production team is the Bomb Squad.
It's a cause to action. Like the beats make you want to like get up, attack. Like
and the group as a whole, in even the production sound, all sound without region.
Yeah.
They feel they don't feel East Coast. They don't feel West Coast, but they just have their own self-identifying sound from the lyric point, from the lyric standpoint and the production standpoint.
That's a great point. Because usually, especially back then, you could tell where someone was from strictly off the production sound.
Yeah.
Whereas, with Public Enemy, if you didn't know they were from New York, you wouldn't have known.
Yeah. Rebel Without a Pause delivers a relentless critique of racial injustice and celebrates resistance against oppression. Backed by a powerful siren-laden beat.
Yep.
And if you forgot what this sounds like, listen to it, and you'll probably remember hearing it.
Yeah.
That's how memorable this track is.
Oh, yeah.
So we got first Brothers and Sisters.
Jesse Jackson on there.
Brothers and Sisters.
And they've used that sample over and
over. I'm gonna be dumb in this moment, and I'm just gonna share it with you. I always at first thought that was saying something different. I thought it was saying better than Cisco for a long time. And I was like, better than Cisco? Why would anybody want to be better than Cisco?
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah. Okay, so until recently.
We've all had those moments, though. We thought we heard something, and it was nowhere close to that. We've all had those.
We have, there's 4 different types of lyrics in every, in Bone Thugs' Crossroads.
Oh, man.
There's like 18 different lyric sheets. Somebody. It sounds like he's singing in Spanish.
Right.
Brothers and sisters.
That's hilarious.
Brothers and sisters.
Better than Cisco. That's what I thought it was.
I don't know what this world is coming to.
That is good. That's hilarious.
But the real version, much more meaningful, much more better.
Yes, absolutely. I'll start with verse 1. He goes, yes, the rhythm, the rebel, without a pause, I'm lowering my level. The hard rhymer, where you never been, a man, you want styling, you know it's time again. D, the enemy telling you to hear it. They praise the music, it's time to play the lyrics. Oh, man. Like,
everyone's like, yeah, listen to Public Enemy. It's like, yeah, they play the lyrics.
Play the lyrics. Like, okay, cool, you like how I sound, but play the lyrics. See what I'm actually saying.
That's crazy.
Some say no to the album, the show, Bum Rush, the sound I made a year ago. I guess he had to let you know, like, we've done this before. Y'all just didn't catch the first album. Yeah. You know what I mean? So some say no to the album, the show, Bum Rush, the sound I made a year ago. I guess you guess I'm just radical, not on sabbatical. Yes, to make it critical. The only party your body should be partying to.
Ooh,
come on. The only party your body should be partying to. Panther Power on the hour from the rebel to you.
Hey, yo, Chuck, man. I don't understand this, man. You got to slow down. You're losing them.
And that embodies exactly what Flavor Flav does. He helps that relief for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's perfect. Yeah. Perfect.
It's perfect.
Radio. Suckers never play me on the mix. They just okay me. Now known and grown. When they clock in my zone, it's known. Snaking and taking everything that a brother owns. Hard, my calling card. Recorded and ordered. Supporter of Chesimard. Loud and proud.
Chesimard? Okay.
Kick it live next. Poet Supreme. Loop a troop. Bazooka. The scheme. Only Chuck D gets away with this type of stuff because you know what? He means what he says. He's literally giving you something left and right. It's like, let me go back just to show you again. Let me just put the example.
Yeah.
Loud and proud, kicking live necks, poet supreme, loop a troop, bazooka the scheme. You're gonna have to ask Chuck exactly what he wanted to give off on those bars,
Man.
but what you know is that those are the lyrics you're gonna be repeating. Flavor, a rebel in his own mind, supporter of my rhyme, designed to scatter a line of suckers who claim I do crime. They on my time ticket. Dang. So he clocks in the work of these MCs.
Wow,
he just scatters the line of the sucker MCs.
Dang. And
He's finally got a bunch of them and was able to
Wow.
take care of them.
That's crazy.
At-
hold on, real quick. Chesamar, that's the married name of Asada Shakur.
That's crazy.
So yeah,
I just thought that was a crazy rhyme there.
Do the knowledge on that.
Chesamar.
Yeah, that was her married last name.
Hey, yo, Chuck, they think we're taking shorts. Show them this is Cole Medina, man. Come on, kick it.
Oh man.
X.
Terminator X on the cuts. Yo, Chuck, getting them nervous. They can't handle this. They're gonna break down. Dude, he reminds me of.
It's like he's on the control board or like he's like navigating the ship, and then he's like taking all the damage that Chuck's running him through. You know,
exactly.
That's perfect.
You know, like when you're when you're on a ride in Disneyland and there's like a captain or a ship or something like, and they're talking. It's like a robot.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what's gonna happen here?
Right.
Like, it feels like
That's
that.
he's taking you through the mission. Yo, Chuck.
Verse 3. From a rebel, it's final on black vinyl. Soul, rock and roll, coming like a rhino. Tables turn, suckers burn to learn. They can't disable the power of my label. Def Jam tells you who I am. Damn. The enemy's public. They really give a damn. Strong Island. Strong Island. Instead of Long Island, Strong Island
in the house.
That's a dope flip. Where I got them wildin'. Wildin' already been coming about. Okay, dang. That's the reason they're claiming that I'm violent, never silent, no dope, getting dumb. Nope. Claiming where we get our rhythm from. Number one, we hit ya and we give you some. No gun and still never on the run. You want to be a S1, Griff will tell you when. And then you'll come again. You'll know what time it is. Impeach the president. Pulling out my ray gun. Zap the next one. I could be your shogun. Suckers don't last a minute. Soft and smooth. I ain't with it. Hardcore. Raw bone like a razor. I'm like laser. I just won't graze ya. Old enough to raise ya. So this will phase ya. Get it right, boy. Maybe I'll praise ya. Playing the role. I got soul too. Voice my opinion with volume. Smooth, not what I am. Rough, cause I'm the man. No matter what the name, we're all the same. Pieces in one big chess game. Yeah, the voice of power is in the house. Go take a shower, boy. PE, a group, a crew, not singular. We wear black Wranglers. We're rap stranglers. You can't angle us. I know you're listening. I caught you pissing your pants. You're scared of dissing us. The crowd is missing us. We're on a mission, y'all.
Wow. Now see, okay, two things I picked up in that.
Yeah.
One, as far as the structure of how they, as I mentioned the four verses.
Yeah.
What I've noticed, verse 3 is like 24 bars, and then verse 4 is like 8.
Yeah.
So like he gives you a lot in verse 3, and then verse 4 is just kind of like the wrap up. So I've kind of noticed that going through these. And then the other thing I picked up was when he said, I caught you pissing your pants. You're scared of dissing us. Like, of all these dope rappers that mostly usually end up in battles or beefs, ain't nobody coming at Chuck D.
No.
Like, you like that never happened.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, that's just, he was such a force, you wouldn't even think to try to diss Chuck D.
Because Chuck's looking at this bigger picture. He's like, I'm taking care of a bunch of enemies here. Try to make me your singular one enemy I got to deal with.
Nah, you be wasting your time.
You're gonna be the sucker MC that gets gets made the example.
Nope.
And then you got Flavor Flav hyping him up too.
Of course.
Chuck, you gotta run and skit. Attitude when I'm on fire, juice on the loose, electric wire, simple and plain, give me the lane. I'll throw it down your throat like Barkley. You see my car keys? You'll never get these. These belong to the 9-8 posse. You want some more, son? You want to get some? Bum rush the door of the store. Pick up the album. You know the rhythm. He didn't even say buy it. He just bum rush the store and pick up the album.
Bum rush
Just
it.
snatch it off the
Yeah,
shelf.
don't even buy it. Just bum rush the store.
You know the
Hilarious.
rhythm, the rhyme, plus the beat is designed so I can enter your mind, boys. Bring the noise, my time. Step aside for the flex, Terminator X. Yeah, that's right. This jam is Cole Raider Medina, boy. That's right, Cole Medina. That's right. We showing up in EFFECT, also known as Effect. You understand what I'm saying? And then at the end, they go to that live performance cut where they're like, "Yo, bring that beat back.
Yeah,
Yo,
that
bring
was
that
dope.
beat back one more time,
Yeah,
Chuck."
that was dope.
Man.
I don't know if I'd survive a prime Public Enemy party.
Oh man.
Like with one water bottle, I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be good for the whole night.
Nah.
You're gonna just find me.
Laid out. Laid out real quick.
That energy would be insane. Insane.
Takeaways, Mark. What do you think about Public Enemy, this album?
I enjoy the fact that Public Enemy is like to the untrained eye, you know, they're gonna look as this like politically extreme group that is just up for one message across. But no, we've mentioned across this show in its entirety that the enemy can be whatever you want it to be, and Public Enemy is gonna be by your side.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
I love the fact that Public Enemy was able to be a group, be a successful group, not hide in the fact of like, oh, you listen to Public Enemy? Yeah, I do too. Like, there's nothing like top secret about it.
Yeah.
It's the fact that everyone related to them at this point in time because there was an enemy that they could identify with. And this album, I hope that people feel the same type of energy I feel towards it now, because it's like, man, we have so many things to feel oppressed by. We have so many things to feel like, dude, that we feel to the need to express ourselves is via Rebel Without a Pause, is via Bring the Noise. And then if we want to have someone like dumb something down and just like, hey man, don't fall for that. Don't believe the hype. We got songs for these messages that we want to convey in song form. And that's why I'm really thankful for Public Enemy, man. Yeah. It's this group just spoke to me at a time where it's like, dude, I don't appeal to the mainstream gangster rap of the 2000s.
Right.
I was appealing towards my voice, my expression. And that was, you know, through alternative hip hop, you end up finding the most extreme version of that, and that is Public Enemy. You know, very self-sacrificing rap group.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know,
I mean, they had a run that was, you know, lengthy enough.
Yep.
It could have went longer, but it's one of those things where, you know, with that message being what it was, and the way hip hop kind of started to change by the mid 90s,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, when it got a lot more commercial, you know, that message wasn't gonna cut through as hard.
Yeah.
During those times, you know, people were really trying to sell records and, you know, liven up the party and things like that. But in those earlier days, like I said before, labels kind of caught on to what rap really was. A group like Public Enemy could just be them and authentically themselves. And I mean, they spawned, you know, like I said, from NWA to the Native Tongues and different elements of what they brought. They literally were, you know, fathers of hip hop in so many ways.
In many regards, yeah.
Many different ways,
Yeah.
from, you know, being a uniform group to having a presence on stage to, you know what I mean? They brought so many facets to what hip hop really is. They really represent the true essence of it. And that's why, you know, as great as their whole catalog is, this album in particular is just it's a masterpiece.
Yeah. So many aspects you could look at them and be like, hey, look to Public Enemy for this example into X, Y, and Z.
Exactly.
Yep.
That shows you how impactful that they are.
Yeah.
You know, even to reference them from other artists, like people of your guild, to understand and respect the fact that, hey, look, you want to rock a party, look at a couple of Public Enemy shows. You want to be a more authoritative MC, listen to Chuck D. You want to be a dope hype man?
Flav.
You know what's
Check
funny?
Flav out.
You know what's funny is you had mentioned, because I had some pops that are in my office here, and I at least saw some of them. Goes, man, be careful of that rabbit hole, because once you get one, all of a sudden you start picking up another one, and another one, and da da da. So I did some purchasing of some hip hop ones, pops, but the holy grail of these like MC pops is Public Enemy.
Mm.
Each pop is, I believe, like $400, and the rest are like, you know, maybe $20 range.
Right.
Public
Those rare
Enemies, $400, one of the rare ones in
Wow.
pop world.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, you know, that even that right there kind of shows you just the distinction of how unique and special that this group is.
Oh yeah.
And you said it like too, is like, you know, they embody like the essence of hip hop, because my personal opinion about hip hop is it's really birthed on like the struggles of the inner city struggles, you know, being oppressed, you know, even by the government, let's say, by the industry, by commerce, all those things. And I feel like, you know, hip hop started in that place of like speaking those truths or speaking for that adversity. And I feel like Public Enemy, you know, they're doing just that. They're speaking about the injustices. They're using hip hop in a way that I think hip hop was truly intended to be used. Now, of course, there's a lot of branches of hip hop, and there's different, you know, branches in the genre, but I think they're, you know, going to always be respected for standing up, you know, and speaking truth, and in a time where it might have been difficult to even do that. And they still, and like we were talking about, we don't know too many groups that are like that to this day. That do it in that fashion. The closest I could think of is Kendrick, maybe Run the Jewels. That's kind of
because no one at this point, with how magnified and consequential your actions are on the mainstream
You gotta
level,
be a lot more careful.
Yeah.
there's no group at this point that's going to take that sacrifice to be super pro black, to be super pro Nation of Islam. There's not going to, you'd have to honestly be independent and stream independently to even try to even branch out as an artist. And then there's a whole different unidentified factor of, will you be successful portraying this message? And this goes back to what we've said about Public Enemy. It's like, dude, they took a lot of risk being in this lane of like, hey, look, they're pro civil rights, pro activism, like pro letting you know that there's a lot of people taking mainstream hip hop and like using it for the wrong. You know, it's just they took that sacrifice, but they were signed to Def Jam and found success.
Yep, still have
I don't know if any group's going to try to do that right now off the jump.
I think too, what also made them which also made this very iconic is the fact that Spike Lee decided to work with them.
Yep.
You know, do the music video for
Fight
them.
the Power. Yep.
Bring that into a movie. There was just all these like planets aligning at the same time. With that's made it special.
Yeah.
Flavor Flav as well being on this group is another unique, special thing about this group, because you have the greatest hype man of all time with you. You know, I believe that you're not going to get another group like this ever.
Man.
So peace to Public Enemy.
Yes.
It was a dope album to be listening to this week. If you guys haven't heard it, it's a must listen. Check that album out ASAP. So a couple of things before we end the show. Mark has a pin business that he is currently operating, and you know what? It would be great if you're lacking in your macking and you don't have that flair that you need to really show out, to really stunt. You know, Mark's the plug. Mark's going to be the one you want, and he got all these different things like, you know, that you might remember, and that might be like, oh dang, that's a pin. Like that'd be sick. So check out Mark's page. Go ahead, Mark. Let him know where you're at.
Check out thenotoriouspin.com or on Instagram at lnotoriouspin. Got a wide selection of like video game related pins, video game inspired designs and pins and stuff like that. Plus a few relics from the 90s that you'll look and be like, oh, I remember that. Yeah. And then you hit order, add to cart, and I'll get it ready for you. Thenotoriouspin.com or on Instagram at lnotoriouspin.
And then also Ali too. Ali got a book that's published, man. You guys got to check that out. Ali, could you let them know where that's at?
Absolutely. Restoring the Feeling. It's everywhere digitally. You can find books, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, any type of site you can find books. It's on iTunes, anywhere you can find digital books. And then my second book, The Inspiration, will be out later this year. So check that out.
Dope. All right, guys, we out of here. It's getting hot.
Yeah.
Mark, let them know.
And to the MCs, if you drop a mic, drop a like and a sub.
Yeah.
And then tell other people.
Yeah.
Tell a friend, tell a foe, tell a hoe.
Yeah, boy!
Peace.
Follow us later.